I have been given strict instructions, as you can see by my colleague Shelley, do not sing. She tells me all the time, and I can't help it. And then I thought the countdown clock. I thought we were going to do that together, Jen. What are you playing at?
Sorry, I don't want to sing your glory. I don't want to sing your glory.
So for those people that are watching, tuned in, they're thinking, oh my God, she's back. Yes, I've been away for a little bit, but I am still here and I am still watching in the wings. So don't you worry about that. So welcome to the Simply Together show. Today is Tuesday, the 27th of September. As always, it is packed, jam-packed. We have two incredible guests on today. We have the lovely Samara, who sometimes does a bit of hosting, actually. Samara, woo, woo. Give it up for Samara. Greetings, Rita James. And we also have the lovely Jenny Lyons in the house. Woo, woo. And the young lady that I haven't mentioned as yet, who normally produces and does all the other bits for Simply D, is actually going to be co-hosting today. We have the lovely and wonderful Shelley Scrumptious in the house. So give it up. Shall I kick off, Shell?
Can do.
I'm going to kick off, and I'm kicking off. Samara, you sit tight.
Okay.
You sit tight. You're going to get a little warm up, and Shell's going to have a little chat with you. But I'm going to have a little chat with Jen, just in case I might have to disappear earlier than anticipated. So Jenny Lyons in the house. Greetings, my dear. Greetings.
Thank you for inviting me and having me on.
No problem. No problem. It probably was literally maybe about a year ago.
Yeah, it was
on this same show.
Yeah, a year ago. Yeah.
That we had you on. So before we get into what you're here to promote, some of the people are going like, I recognise that name, and actually, I think I recognise that lady. So can you tell us a little bit about you before going into the main event, so to speak?
Well, I'm Jenny Lyons, and I'm wearing a headscarf. So when I'm wearing a headscarf and you can't see my hair and my wig, I could be anybody, to be fair. The name Lyons may be known to you because my dad is known to a lot of people, Barry Lyons. He used to live on Selborne Road, now lives on Main Avenue. And who I am, I'm a Luton girl born and bred. Cut me in half like a sticker rocket, says Luton girl. Very proud of that. I don't care how many people say Luton's the worst part of the country to live. I'm back in Luton, and I'm not going to argue about it. And I'm ready to fight people over it. I am an employability consultant, and my basic role in life is helping people secure the jobs that they actually want. And that is helping people who are currently in work move into another type of work that they feel more fulfilled. And I also work on programs to help people who aren't working start their journey into work. And I specialize in people who have specific challenges to getting into work. It could be mental health, it could be neurodiverse, it could be people who are ex-offenders, people who are struggling with or have struggled with addiction issues, people who may have had historical literacy issues which were not diagnosed. And it could be people who have been victims of domestic violence, who've had to flee their hometown, resettle with their kids, and they're very much a fish out of water in a new town. So I specialize in helping people with complex, multiple barriers to employment, and also people who just say, you know what, Jen, I can't do this no more. I want to do a job that I don't hate. So, and there's no shame in that. And I also write CVs for people. I do a lot, but my basic goal is helping people just do the work that they actually feel something for, because I believe we all deserve that. And the way things are going in this country, we may all be working till we're 102 before we can pick our pension. So we need to choose that job wisely, people. So that's what I'm about. And I'm here today to talk about an event that I've helped organise and I'm co-presenting. And it's a Windrush Celebration that we're holding at All Saints Church, Shaftsbury Road in Luton, 3 till 5 p.m. It's a Saturday. Luton are not playing home. So it shouldn't be too difficult to find. I was on the show last year promoting the event we had, and it was fantastic.
I was there. I can vouch for that. It was absolutely amazing. I took my mum as well. Yes, it was.
And we're doing it again. Now, it's slightly different because last year we were focusing on the contribution that the Windrush community has made to Luton and the country. And we had created a timeline showing decade by decade all the things that people had achieved. And we're looking at things like first Black people playing for England, Black MPs, lots of different achievements that people had actually made that people don't actually realize. And that went down really, really well. And it was very interesting when we were putting it together to see how much we didn't know about what people had achieved and when they'd actually achieved it. You were thinking, and one of the scariest things actually that came to my mind is it was only a few years ago that Coronation Street actually had a Black family. And Coronation Street is our longest running soap. And it's only a couple of years ago they had a Black family. I didn't even know that. So we actually learned a lot. And planning last year, we actually celebrated as we went along. This year, we're still celebrating the Windrush community, but we're thinking a bit more beyond Windrush. Because last year we were looking at this is what we've done, and now we're thinking about what we're going to do now, because we still have a long way to go. We're not touching so much on political issues like repatriation and things like that, but we're going to be having food. You know that's going to happen. And Dee's thinking, I've got another event on, but can I just style it out and pretend I was there and come and eat some patties?
Somehow I don't think I'm going to be able to do that, but I got people. I know people.
We're going to have a mixture of music, and we're going to have some traditional steel pan, because you know we need to have that when people are coming in. We're going to have some traditional steel pan action, and we're going to have some live entertainment from local legend Yvonne Michelle. Nobody can big up a crowd like Michelle and those vocal cords. And I'm biased because I've known her since I was little, went to school with her. But this is a woman who can sing, can engage the crowd, and she's going to be incredible. We've also got another singer called Fuchsia who's going to be singing a few numbers. So that's the music covered. We're going to have some interesting education because we've got our local bishop who's going to be talking. And he spoke last year and it was really insightful, talking about racism within the church. And it's a subject that people don't want to think about, don't want to talk about, because when you put church racism, people are thinking that doesn't actually make sense. But church has woken up to the fact that, like every large organization in the country, there is an issue with how they handle race. And last year, the bishop was talking about the work they've done so far to confront how bad the problem is. And he's going to be updating us as to what initiatives that they're bringing in to deal with issues of race. And to put that into context, it's about how they employ people. Like we're thinking, like we would look at how the local authority, NHS, employs people, decisions they make. We're not taking that person as Black or whatever. The church are looking at how they've made decisions. Simple things like, this person's right for the job, but yeah, Black person going into that parish, the locals may not feel it. Things like that. So they're looking at how they manage those issues in-house and how they can create a more equal society within the church that is embracing. And I think it's a really important issue. And it was really interesting last year because most people didn't even know it was a thing, because you kind of don't think it's a thing because it's a church, but they are an organization like any other. And it was really important to see what they were doing in our area, in our parish, to look at these issues. And where we are in All Saints, it's a very multicultural area because it's in Bury Park. And when I was growing up, it was always multicultural, and the church still is, but not all parishes are like that. So that's going to be a really interesting segment of the afternoon. We've also got one of our local MPs, Rachel Hopkins. She was there last year, but she wasn't speaking. But she's going to be talking about Luton, about government and Windrush going forward, the work that needs to be done, and that's going to be really, really interesting. She was really pleased to be there last year, giving us some work to do this year, and she hasn't fought back on that. So we're really excited. Just checking my notes as he's coming. Now, we're also creating a piece of living art. So everybody who turns up, you're all going to be invited to take part in creating a piece of art in the afternoon. I'm not going to give too much information away, but turn up, we'll give you non-messy materials to work with, and we'll invite you to help create our vision for the future. That's what I'm going to say now. Yeah. So we want as many people to come as possible to put their name down on this piece of art. Okay. But the theme is going to be Beyond Windrush. Okay. And you are going to be part of that piece of art. And it's really about what you want for the future. So really looking forward to see what that's going to look like. So I haven't actually got an idea. There is a possibility. There is actually a train strike on that day. Yeah, there is. And we had somebody who was coming in person, but they may be joining us via Zoom. And that's representative from the Trinidad High Commission, because as you know, it's 60 years independence, Jamaica and Trinidad. So somebody called Ansel Wong had agreed to attend, and is going to be talking about the Trinidad community in the UK and what they're looking at to achieve the next few years, and initiatives that are going on and things going on in Trinidad in the UK. And that's going to be interesting. Because of the train strike, not sure if he can join us in person, but we're hoping to have him live on Zoom to talk to us. And there is a possibility that we may have somebody, and it is a may because we're really not sure, because
I know how it goes.
We're trying to get someone to talk about the Windrush compensation scheme, because we had somebody talking about it last year, and that was really, really interesting. And the person we had last year, God forgive me, I can't remember his name, but he was a friend of Stephen Lawrence's, and he's working on a commission to try and promote the scheme. And he was giving people information. He took quite a few questions, actually. And we were hoping to have somebody this year to update us, because the problem that we had last year, they were saying, is not enough people understood the scheme.
Yeah.
Had to access the scheme, and not enough people were actually getting enough help to fill out all the information that being asked. And you know yourself, if you're trying to access something, you kind of run out of steam. And for a lot of older people, it just can just seem like too much for muchness to keep going. And so
it's like a deliberate hurdle that you know we're going to give you, but do you know what, we know there's going to be a lot that aren't going to fill it out. So
and the amount of information people have been asked to collect, so it hasn't necessarily gone down well in all circles. And quite a few people that we know and mentioned last year that they'd looked into it, but it just looked so overly complicated. And when they kind of looked, sorry, you carry on.
Sorry, there's a slight delay. There was something last week, I'm going to have to look it up, that was with regards to the Windrush and exactly what you're talking about now. And it was like local. I don't know who was running that or what have you. So you're saying that you want to have somebody, but you're not sure if you've got someone? Or
because the other my co-presenter, Erica, another local legend, Erica Gordon, she was trying to see if that person who was fronting that organization could come and say a few words to give people some hope and an update to see where we were. Because when you asked the government about, you asked Priti Patel about the Windrush scheme and everything, she was going to say, yes, all this money has been paid out, but the number of people who actually qualify for a payout is huge versus the number of people who've actually gone through the process and actually been allocated some money. And some of these people would have died by the time they see a penny, because it actually takes a lot of time. So there's a lot of work to do there. So we're really trying to get someone to update us and give us some tips of where people can find help and assistance and much needed support if they feel that they qualify to go through that process, because it is very, very it's very, very difficult. And I think that one of the problems that we have within our community, I don't think we have enough Windrush, enough kind of like black people basically who are solicitors who in the system, because I believe that if this was something that affected Pakistanis, Kashmiris, Bengalis, there are more solicitors of that heritage to have people to say, look, yeah, okay, we got people who actually are going to qualify for this. We need to get a team together and we need to hit this out, get the people together. We need to go in their houses, because I think they would mobilize themselves more efficiently because there are more people in the system from that background. And I think that's what we need. We need to have more people of a Windrush heritage who are legally qualified to say, look, let me help people. No fee. Let me see what we can do to get more people through it. And I think that is where we need to improve. We need more people.
Jen, we could be talking and talking, because this is obviously bigger than, well, this is bigger than a Simply Together show. This is much bigger than all of the shows that we do, in all honesty.
But in a nutshell, that is more or less what the program is going to be. There's something for everybody, young and old. Did I mention great food?
You certainly did.
In the menu. Hello. Some of us, forward thinking, will be traveling with Tupperware. Yeah, don't leave home without it, just in case there's leftovers. It's going to be a really interesting event, and I really hope as many people will come as last year and even more. I mean, last year,
I'm sure on the back of last year that people will be telling people. It's just sometimes when people are unaware of certain things that are actually happening, hear it all the time. They don't know what's going on, going on. So that's what we kind of do. If people are doing things, we invite them to come on and to share, and that's what it's all about. So I'm going to have to condense it purely if you can stay around, because after Shelley's had a word with Samara, if we could get you back on just to recap. No recap for everybody. But if it's anything like last year, and from what you said to me, it's on another level. It really is. So I think it's going to be absolutely amazing. First thing people are going to say, like, so how much is it? Yeah, because that's what they're going to ask.
Yeah, that's the thing I forgot to mention.
Exactly.
You can just rock up. You can just rock up, or even better, register your intention to come through Eventbrite. Yeah, and just look for Windrush Celebration Eventbrite. But if you can't find it, it's not your thing, just rock up. One last thing to add, another speaker we've got is a lady called Jadine. She's actually one of the co-organizers of it, and she's going to be talking about her experiences of being a Black woman in the gaming industry. She's a marketing manager for a gaming company, because gaming is big business. A lot of Black people game. Many Black people are actually in the business as developers, as anything other than people who are consumers of games. And she's going to be talking about getting more Black people working within the gaming industry, and what the potential is there. And that's going to be really interesting.
Jen, love to chat more. We're going to need to dive. You can see the other ones are on the screen, kicking us out. All right, stay tight, darling. Because I was
just going to say, Jenny, if you have a look at what I've just put into the comments, I didn't realise, and it was something I thought of after you saying that people will end up dying before they've had a chance to claim. It does half say that you can make a claim as a representative of an estate. So if people have started to go through that, if you've got a relative that has died, I think you can still claim for it, which I don't think people are aware of. I suddenly thought that as soon as you said that, I thought, well, can you or not? So I thought I'd had a quick look.
That's good.
It just looks like you can.
That would be good, because you got when the relatives are thinking, you know what, we can make some money out of this.
Yeah. So that's why we say share. There's already Louisa's put she needs to catch up with you. So Jen, we're going to go for now. and
Yeah.
let these guys have a chat, and
Around.
hopefully if
I'm
you're
gonna
still
make a
around, we'll bring
up.
you back on. Thank you so much, darling. See you later.
Hi.
Hiya! Now we've got them out of the way.
How are you?
I'm good, thank you. How are you, more importantly?
Good. Really good, thank you. I'm really well.
You're
Thank
getting
you.
good.
Thank you.
Well, I can see you've been busy. We're going to do your bits and pieces to do with... Is this your actual church?
Yeah.
This is like your one, yeah.
My home church, yeah.
Your home one, that's it. That's the best way to describe it.
Yeah.
I've put the ticker up on the bottom there, but do you want to explain what you're going to be up to the end of next month?
Yeah. So I'm representing New Testament Church of God, the youth department. I am a member of the youth and praise and worship and things like that. And we have been working together to put together an event called Fill My Cup. And I'm just going to read something out. It was funded by the Beds and Luton Community Foundation, and it was used to support young people within the community to have a safe space to talk about feelings and emotions through dance, spoken word, music and poetry. So obviously we was given that funding for that. So we've been doing rehearsals and workshops and things. So I've led, me and my brother Jonathan led workshops and stuff for songwriting and things like that to get them involved with their songwriting. Sister Unique, she's been working on the dance ministry. She's head of dance ministry. Sister Samara, she's head of youth department. So there's a lot going on, and it's about really encouraging the young people. And I'm really grateful because our pastor and the first lady of our church, the senior pastor, Vincent and Sister Donna, the first lady, have been so encouraging for us as youth because they trust us, and I think that's a really big thing, to be trusted to put on events. Yes. It's really important, and half the time, I'll be honest, they literally leave. They don't come to our rehearsals. They'll nip in and out, because that's what they do. They're our parents, so they're just nipping in and out to support, but they're not taking charge. They've left it to us. They've literally trusted us with this, and they've done it before with our Choose the Right Path event, and it's just great to know that we're trusted enough to put events on. So yeah,
cool. That is cool. Yeah, because one of the things is on the ticker at the minute. When I looked how long of a day it's going to be, you got a full day of all sorts of things going on, as you say, that you've got dance and obviously your own background of singing and acting and dancing and anything else that you'll put your hands to. I suppose that really is a big thing.
Thing for it's exciting to be a part of it, to be fair. And obviously now, because I've completely gone the other way, so obviously before I did secular music and now I'm just in church, singing for God. So I'm really happy about that as well, and that I'm able to do all of these great opportunities that God's placed in my life to be involved in something as good as this. So yeah, it's really good, but it's actually a 3-day thing. It's literally not even just that day that I've shared. So on the Friday the 28th, it's the young showcase, so that the younger lot, so it's under 13s, so my children will be showcasing on that day. So my son is 3 years old, he's dancing and he's singing. My daughter's 6, she'll be dancing, she'll be singing, and there's a collective of amazing young people that will take part on the Friday. So that's from 6 to 9, and that's at St Paul's Church. And then the Saturday, the flyer that I shared initially in the group chat is Saturday the 29th of October, and it's first there's a love, sex and marriage seminar that's from 2 to 5 p.m, led by our senior pastor and the first lady of our church, so that's Pastor Vincent and Sister Donna. And I've never been to I've not had the opportunity as of yet to go to the love, sex and marriage seminar, but when I say that, so many of the young people that have taken part it's been really insightful, very helpful. The proofs in the name, love, sex and marriage, those are the things that we discuss, and it's just really eye-opening, and obviously I just want to reinforce that we're a word-based church. We go by the word of God, we're Holy Spirit led. So we're led by the Spirit, where people matter and we grow together. And I've only been at the church just over a year, and my children matter, the children of the church matter, I matter, the rest of us matter, and we have all grown together. So it's the proof is in, it's biblical as well, the proof's in the fruits, but you can see that the children and the young people have grown, and they continue to grow because we've been given the opportunity to do that. So we've been given opportunity by our, you know, parents. So I call them my parents, but my parents to actually, you know, blossom and grow and elevate, and that's literally what they do for us. They really have supported this event, and they've supported any other event that we've put on.
And yeah, I mean, I was privileged enough to come to your baptism, and being in where I've grown up. I actually put it in the chats a little bit earlier on that when people go to a church and they only ever see that part of a church or that particular, so if they've gone to a funeral or wedding or anything, but growing up in the Methodist church that I did, we would go around to each of the other churches and have these mixed faith, mixed race kind of experience in each other's churches. So coming along to yours, I could then see, as you say, that they do look after the children. They were getting bits and pieces. So even though it was those few people that were being baptized that day, that you was actually then having other things going on at the same time, like the whole church was then involved.
Yeah,
and it's nice to see that in sort of like these days when they say like faith is not as big as it used to be, but it is to certain people.
Faith like having faith, you know, in Christ himself is so important. But for me, it's really nice to hear you say that and feed that back, because obviously after the show I will be sending it back to our youth department and pastor and stuff. So it's nice because, you know, Shelley made my cake as well for my baptism. So my cake as well, or as many people as possible that could do that. So it was really nice as well. And she put my favourite scripture on there, Proverbs 31 verse 26, she put on there for me, and I'm just always and forever grateful for that. But yeah, it's really nice to hear that from you as someone who doesn't actually attend our church, has come, you know, to visit for, you know, my baptism, and that's something that you've managed to pick up as well. It kind of just reinforces what I've said, you know, the youth, all of us are important. I'm not saying, but obviously I'm speaking about a youth event at the moment, and it's led by the youth, you know, so it's just amazing.
And you could really feel that as soon as you then walked in. I mean, any church should then be welcoming to anyone. And when I go down to see, because my mum lives in Weymouth, I go down to see her in her church whenever I'm down there. And I'm welcomed into there. They know I'm coming. Mum said I was like, we do whichever child's coming down that particular weekend kind of thing. And you do get some that are not quite as welcoming as that. But yes, with you saying about the youth, there definitely, yes, I can see it's going to be. And a mate was I was going to say a day, but it's now the whole weekend.
So it goes from, so the 29th is the Love, Sex and Marriage Seminar from 2 to 5 p.m. And then it goes into the fellowship and refreshments 5 to 6:30 p.m. And that the refreshments are provided by MJ Catering, amazing, and she's one of our own. She's actually a member of our church as well, which I'm really proud to say too. And the worship's from 7 to 9 p.m. So yeah, it's just a time of worship with each other, with one another, and to be in the presence of God. And then the Sunday is the youth, just our youth service, which we have every Sunday as well. So again, we lead that service. That's 1 to 3 p.m. at St Paul's Church. So I just want to make it clear as well, the Friday is not ticketed. So you literally just turn up, and that's at St Paul's Church. Saturday is ticketed, and there's tickets, I believe, for each part of the session. So the Love, Sex and Marriage.
Have a quick look when I've put it in the description thing.
Just double check that I was saying the right thing. So so basically, just go on Eventbrite. I believe you can just type in New Testament Church of God, Fill My Cup, and then you can kind of just get your tickets. Tickets are free, absolutely free of charge. So it's just for us as well to kind of see how many people we're going to expect, but all are welcome. And I just think it would be really insightful and just really lovely for you to be in the presence of God, really, and just to see what us young people are getting up to, and just to show you that us as young people in Christ, we have a great time. We have the best time. We're rehearsing, we're really working hard. We literally had a rehearsal yesterday evening. We've got a rehearsal tomorrow. Like we take our there's a scripture about magnifying your office, and we take it really seriously. It's really important to us, like really, really important. And we're just so grateful. And I know I can speak on behalf of the youth that we have leaders in our church, the senior pastor and his wife, that are so supportive of us as the young people, and they trust us, because I think trust is really important.
Oh,
You know, like in this day and age, especially, you need to be able to show, you know, we're all like their children and grandchildren. They've just got a load of us now all of a sudden, which is great because they're my parents. But for them, it's like, wow, you know, my mum trusts me, my dad trusts me. That's literally for me personally how it feels. So yeah, for us as young people, it's really nice to be trusted. We've got an amazing youth director as well. So we're just really, really blessed, really.
that's good. I think, is Jenny still there? I was going to bring her in because it's kind of, we didn't plan this because Jenny was coming on because you've actually then got an event going on, and it happens to be around the church. And then Samara, that we was then saying, we need you to get you on because you was talking about, because you're in the middle of planning all these bits and pieces. And it is just, I said, it is just amazing how people, like we said all along, you get people of Luton that say just how bad Luton is. Notice how I actually said my T's that time. A Luton. They do end up putting Luton down. And to have both of you on today actually then stated that no, there is stuff that's going on all the time. It's people are not actually seeing it or not actually wanting to see it.
Yeah.
Does that make more sense?
Yeah, I think for me, I do what I take what I call the Occam's razor approach to everything. And do you know what Occam's razor is? Occam's razor is a philosophical principle which basically means the simplest answer is usually the correct one. Yeah. So when people slag off Luton, when I say I'm from Luton, goes, really? And I always say Luton. I'm not a Luton. I'm a Luton girl, not a Luton girl. Now, if things are so bad in Luton, why is it that they're throwing money right and centre in Luton to build up roads so people can get in and out of Luton? So every scrap of land, they're building flats. They're building it not for local people, but to ship people into Luton because they cannot afford to live in London or anywhere around London because they cannot have a roof over their head and have a life. If Luton was so bad, why are people trying to get here? Why are they pricing people, local people at the housing market if Luton was so bad? I used to work in London and people say, oh my God, Jen, I can't believe you're raving every 5 minutes. You're eating lovely restaurants in London. I love eating out. I love London restaurants because, I love it. No shame in that. And people say, Jen, I can't believe you're not living in London. I said, let's look at this figuratively. I live in Luton. I own my own property. I've got a car. I can afford to run my car. I'm always going abroad. I can fly first class. You're bragging that you living in London. You can't buy a packet of crisps without talking to your partner because you have to watch every penny. There you go. Argument over. That's not a life. I have a life and I'm living it and enjoying it and doing it in Luton. There you go.
Yeah.
I don't care where you're living. It's about the life that you're actually living. Your life isn't the town. It's what you are doing with the air that you breathe. And I'm doing loads, getting lots done in Luton.
Yeah.
And I can afford to be spontaneous. I can buy an ugly, expensive pair of shoes that I'm only going to wear once and have to take off halfway through the night because they're killing my feet. I can afford to do that. Other people living where they're living can't afford to do that. It's about living your life. I will defend Luton until I die. And I hate it when people slug off our town. Stop it, please.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
People are killing to try and get into this town. Yes, there's things can be better and they will be better. It's just going to take time. We're going to get a new ground. We're coming out of Kenilworth Road. We're going to have Power Court, go the Hatters. Yeah. It's all going to happen. Yeah, things will take time. We just have to back our town and keep our heads up.
Yeah.
And deal with people slugging off our town to our face. I'm not letting that rest. Thank you.
Yeah, there is a lot that's even for people that are supposed to be working towards how the town is, will then say, well, where are the gaps? How can we help? What do we need to put? And it's quite often it's like, no, there are no gaps. You're just not seeing where other charities and projects are actually in there doing the work. You're not seeing these things. You're not promoting these things. You're not looking out for these things. You're just thinking, I've got X amount of money and I'm supposed to do that with it. and they don't see what's kind of going on, like proper grassroots, if you like.
Yeah, and I think what we need to do, we need, as I said earlier, because you've got so much investment for people outside of Luton bringing it in. Luton people need to support Luton businesses. We need to support the restaurants, not so much the McDonald's and the KFCs. We need to support our local restaurants. Spend money locally with local people to drive our local economy. When the new food places open, we need to go there. If the food and the service sucks, we need to tell them it sucks. And this is where they need to unsuck it so they can do better. This is what we need to be doing. This is how we grow our town. We need to be raising our children right. We need to be talking to our neighbours and looking out for our neighbours' children, not just people like us. They are in our locale. We need to help be part of the solution. And that is how we will build our town. That is the only way. That is the only way. And we need to be inclusive in all that we do. Because the best thing about Luton is all the different types of people that are in Luton.
Yeah.
And we need to be looking out and supporting the refugees that are here. The Ukrainians, the Eritreans, the Afghanis. And I do a lot of work with asylum seekers. And you know what? They love Luton.
Yeah. There is a lot of opportunities, a lot of help, and it has always been. It has always been right back to. I mean, like Italians came into this area but ended up in Bedford. We had a lot of the Irish ended up in Luton. It's going back generations and generations of around this area in which we do take in and nurture in a way in this area, and it's and
we need to do that. And I think as part of that, we need to not buy into the rhetoric of all the people coming here committing crime, we've got Romanian gypsies and all this. We need to, you know what, there are dodgy people in every subset. We need to, before people start saying they're begging, these people are doing that, what about the people homegrown in Luton? What are they doing? Thank you. We need to look at those issues as well.
Yeah.
And not get polarized by the big political arguments. We need to look what's right for humanity, which will be right for our town, treating people as equals and trying to lift people, but not just lift people like us, lift everybody. So if we're deliberately leaving people out, we're not really lifting. We're not lifting.
No.
We're not lifting. I'll stop preaching now.
As well, but Jenny mentioned about, encouraging the children and obviously, looking out for each other's children and, raising your children properly. That's also biblical. It says to train up a child in the way they must go, and when they're old, they won't depart from it. So that's why even me as a mother, I love to encourage my children and support them, and what's really important is what I've seen as a parent myself is if you see a gifting in your child or you see your child shows a strong interest in something, no matter what age they are, because my son's 3 years old, and when I tell you, anyone who's been a witness of this will agree, he loves drums. He loves drums. He loves any musical instrument, but he's always on them drums every single Sunday after church. Any opportunity he gets to go on the drums, and he's 3 years old. So from now, he's 3. People can look at that. Oh, he's too young to play the drums. No. I encourage any parent now, if you see that your child shows an interest in something. My daughter loves to draw, so I'm getting her to draw all the time. Draw what you feel. Draw what the spirit leads you to draw. I'm so encouraging, and I just encourage parents to do that. If you see a child loves planes, and teach them what a plane is, not just that it's got wings and it flies in the sky. No, break down the inside of a plane. How does it work? What's inside it? Things like that. Train up your children and encourage them. This is why I'm able to sit in a rehearsal. I'm rehearsing in one part of the room. My 2 children on the other side rehearsing their songs, and they're singing and they're rehearsing their dance, because I'm training up my children. And it's not because, I love performing. Everyone who knows me knows that's been me for years. But regardless, my children, my daughter wants to draw, my son wants to play drums. Nurture your children and pay attention to what they like, even if it's something you're not into. I wouldn't say I'm necessarily into planes and trains. My son is, so I'm happy to tell him, that's part of a train, that's part of a plane. I'll find out if I don't know the answers. We must train up our children, we must encourage them and support them. And what they're doing. This is why it's so important that we're doing the events that we do at church, and that our pastor and our leaders are saying, yeah, wow, this person's really good at writing, this person's really good, and they're just identifying that in us, and then they're encouraging us. And that's what we should do as parents. Even if you're not a parent of that child, oh wow, they're really taking an interest in plants. Let's encourage them. Encourage your children. Encourage them, even if you know you are of the faith, you know, believing in Jesus. Encourage your child to pray. Encourage your child to tell the enemy to flee from them. Encourage them, because they have the authority. Reinforce that for them, and keep encouraging your children. So important. Let them know they can put on an event, and they're 6. They can be part of putting on an event. They're 6 years old. They can plan at 3. Yes, you can. Because I said you can, and ultimately God said you can. So encourage your children, because when we go, you know, I'm getting older. I'm not getting any younger. So when I'm not here,
are you?
My kids are getting older every day, Auntie. I'm getting old. Yeah.
No way.
From here, my children can, you know, carry on and carry on and carry on. We can't. Us as, you know, the older generations. I'm saying all of us older generations. I'm not talking my children. I'm talking me, the ones after me. You know, they're so stuck in their ways of just wanting to stay here and like not wanting to pass the baton on. Pass it on, because otherwise, when you're not here, where's it going? If you're not nurturing that child who's 3 and has shown an interest for 3 whole years of their life or 6 whole years of their life, you know, what they want to do, and you're not encouraging them, where's the baton going? Because you haven't been leading them. You haven't been training them up in the way they must go. Train your children, support your children, encourage your children, because when we're not here, we need someone to continue the legacy. We need someone to support, you know, carry it on. Let's not harbour it. Let's not hold it for ourselves. It's not for us. The same way my testimony is not just for me, because I have to be able to share the things I've been through to support and help other people, for them to see. If God can do it for me, he can do it for you. So I'm just encouraging you as well. Train up your children, support your children, encourage them. They're 3 years old, so what? If they want to, if you want to read something in the event on Saturday, read it. There's no age to it. Encourage your children, because one day the reality is we're not going to be here. We need to train up new leaders, new event managers, new pilots, you know, train up your children. So important. So I'm just going to leave you with that, and I'm just going to leave you with the scripture that's backed onto what we're using to fill my cup. And it's Romans 15 verse 13, and it says, May the God of hope, fill you with all the joy and peace as you trust in him, so that you may overflow with the hope by the power of the Holy Spirit. And that's the scripture that's linked to our event, 3-day event, Fill My Cup. And the event tickets for the Saturday in particular are on Eventbrite. Thank you. And I'll just finish my bit there.
Thank you for taking us to church, Samara. Thank you for bringing it. Seriously, why do you think we got you on board? Do you think it's just for we know what we're doing? We know what we're doing. And when you weren't feeling it, we know, say, like, we're just going to keep you in there. And this is what we're talking about and giving the platforms. So we are, Shell, don't get upset. We are kind of on the older side, but we have got something that we hope that we can give opportunities for younger. So that's yourself, your children, and others out there that have got positive messages to be reaching people we may not necessarily be able to reach, but you can reach. And that's how the baton is passed on. And you know that now. So, wow, absolutely wow. I'm going to have to watch back when I came off, because I had to do some stuff. Watch back that section, because I heard some of it and I've seen some of the messages. Woohoo! When you guys watch this back, you'll be surprised. You'll be surprised from something that you're thinking like a little show. I'm telling you now, it plants seeds out there. People will be contacting you guys off the back of this, and that's why we keep telling people to share. You've shared so much today, Jen, much more than you probably think that you've shared. Yeah, much more.
It's all about sharing, and everything you do, you think
definitely.
about how we impact others.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, all that we do.
Most definitely. So definitely going to get you on Real Talk, and we can have a much bigger conversation.
Love to. You know me, I will talk about ladybirds, even though I hate them. I'll talk about anything, trust me.
So thank you guys. I've just come back on, Shell. I'm not making any assumptions, but at the same time, we've spoken just briefly about the 8th of October. Not yet.
No, we haven't said anything at all because we then
Cool.
started talking about Luton.
That's fine. So as you can see, it's on the ticker there, as they say. So the same day as what Jen's talking about, Saturday, the 8th of October. This, you probably can't see it because I can see it shining. It's the flyer that hopefully you've seen all over the social media, the Luton Black Culture Market. This is going to be held at the Hat Factory in Luton, and actually got the outside the Hat Factory ground floor, some of the ground floor, and also the second floor. So there's 29 stands. Yeah, 29 exhibitors, independent businesses, and they are all working extremely hard right now because they're hoping that you are going to come along and support them. And you know what? Obviously, they want you to purchase their items, but it'd be great just to see people also as well, to connect, to network, and to share. So please, 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 you don't have to be there all day. Now, let me tell you now, and Jenny will understand, this is no black people something we're talking now, okay? It is 10:30 a.m. to 3:30 p.m. So when you arrive and rock up at like 3:40 and like, where is everything, and think we're still going to be there, because we say that, but we're still going to be there till like 5, 6 o'clock. We're not. We're being shut at 3:30 p.m. It's early. Okay, so please, 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 please take time out. You've got time to come to that. And guess what? You've still got time to pop along and go to Jenny's event. How's that? It's true. Jenny's event starts at 3. We finish at 3:30. So you've got time. Come
Go
along.
and buy your stuff, get on the bus, get off Dunstable Road, Berry Park, walk up. Or Dunstable
If you've
Road,
got flyers, Jen, let's get some flyers from you. We've got a few things coming up. And that way then we can do like an exchange of flyers. And we can certainly have them and then sort of like direct people and sort of say, you know, there's something else going on where you are. And that's what we do, and that's how we share. Tuesday show coming up, Tuesday, the 4th of October. Real Talk is Simply D's. Don't know how many of the exhibitors I'm going to have. There's absolutely loads. They're all like, I want in, I want in. And if I tell you the youngest, young man that we've got, Shelley's, I think she may have met him before, but his name is Shy, and he has his own lemonade business, people. 5 flavors, my dear. And he is the CEO of his own business. We also have a brother and sister, 8 and 11. So do you know what? Come and support exactly what you're saying, Samara. There's young people out there. All we hear is the negative stuff. And that's what everyone's sharing. They're this, they're that. Well, do you know what? There's a lot. There's more positive than there is negative. And these guys are starting out young. Let's show them support and love. Bring your young people along. Let them see what the young are doing. So, you're going to be hearing so much more. You're going to be going like, oh, my God, I'm sick and tired of. We don't care. We don't care. We're working in partnership with the Culture Trust, and we want this to be massive. We want this to be the start of something. And, you know, I don't want to mention it, but I will. The Black Bookcase is coming back next year, 2023. Just working on a location, and so many other things.
He keeps adding to the diary.
The newsletter. We always talk and we always promote other people. It'd be really great if people, especially if we have them on the show and stuff like that, like our pages, sign up to our newsletter. I've got people wanting to do stuff, and I'm like, if you're part of the family, you're going to be one of the first people that know what's going on and what we're doing. And then when you get people that just want to rock up when you're doing something, don't kind of work like that. Where's the support? We've not seen you. We've not seen you. So Jen, Samara, honestly, you two, thank you so much for coming on the show today. Absolutely incredible. I'm going to work out a date to get you guys on Real Talk, and let's see what we can do to help and support. I'm going to sort of say thank you all and goodbye, and let Shelley just do a wrap, because there might be some stuff that I've missed.
I think that was the main thing. We've, as I said, you got the newsletter, got all our pages, we've got YouTube. If you look on Linktree, Simply D's Events CIC, you'll find all the links on there, and then the links to all the different events and everything else that's then got going on, because it is a full pack diary. And we've got our In Together, Share Together group, in which everyone puts their events in and shares it around. So there's a lot out there. It's busy coming up to the end of the month.
Shimmy, 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 shimmy. Samara's like, no RED, no RED.
I don't know what. It's been like this since the weekend, and she's still not calmed down.
Nah.
So just leave you shimmying and just podcast. Thanks for watching.
We'll see you next week, guys.
Bye.